There's something about video that makes us even more nervous than just recording audio. There's something about our faces being online that makes it a harder experience. And I get that. I'm a bit of a ham and I've been doing this for a while. And I also taught in front of a lot of people for almost 20 years. So for me, it's not as much of an issue anymore, but I feel the pain that people go through. I feel the nervousness. I understand the struggle of wanting to put yourself out there in the most polished way as possible. However, I am also a business person at Coffee Like Media, and I also know you need to get your marketing out there in a swift fashion so you can connect with people and bring them into your business. You can also do that for a community. You don't want to spend too much time on your videos because you need to move on, especially if you're a one-person operation. You need to keep going. You need to produce consistent content in a sane way. A sane and simple podcasting way, some would say. This coaching call is between Angela and I. I'm helping her push through her perfectionism in as calm and experimental way as possible. If you'd like to be a guest on Sane and Simple Podcasting to discuss ChatGPT for podcast marketing, YouTube for podcasting, whether it be a static or motion video channel, podcast marketing, or podcast workflow, contact me. The links will be in the show notes or video notes, depending on where you're consuming this, and we'll get you on the show, which is free promo for your project as well. Angela, what is your video production goal?
How can I create a productivity workflow that allows me to get from idea to publish a lot faster? I started making YouTube videos in 2019. I was very terrible and very awkward, but over time I've gotten better at recording myself, from lighting to audio to video, and now it's a question of consistency.
Yeah.
I'm very good at coming up with ideas and writing scripts, and I think I've gotten a little bit better through time and consulting with other people on packaging those ideas and knowing which ideas are going to work best for my channel and for my audience.
Okay, and this is for your YouTube, your solo YouTube videos. I was looking at your different playlists there. Is it the same struggle for all of the different kinds of videos that you do there?
Not as much for the podcast because that's more conversational.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, I wouldn't say a lot less cutting, but there's a lot less cutting. Like I'm a little more familiar with just like
Mhm.
editing that and getting that up and going. I think it's the solo videos, one, because I just
Mhm.
maybe place such a premium on the quality of what
Mhm.
comes out and how to make that the most engaging, that maybe sometimes I get caught up in this like analysis paralysis of like, how can I make this perfect? And if this
Yeah.
isn't perfect, does it need to go out? And all these other things. So
Okay, fair enough. The first thing I'd like to do, if you're cool with this, is to go through your current workflow step by step from, ideas to it being published online. So what is the first thing that happens?
right now, I have a running list of ideas in Notion
Mhm.
and Obsidian, which are kind of like my note-taking and organizational apps.
Mhm.
And once I come up with an idea, the first thing I actually try to do before I do anything is try to find a good title and come up with an idea for a really good thumbnail.
Nice. Mhm.
I'm not a designer, so it probably takes me longer than normal to come up with a thumbnail and do a little bit of research on what may be good options. But that's definitely my first two steps, because if I can't package it in a way that gets people to click, then it's probably not as good an idea as I think it is, which
Yeah.
does happen sometimes. But then once I get on a really good trajectory in terms of the title and thumbnail, then I start on the script. The script typically takes the least amount of time. I'm really good at writing and I understand my voice a little bit better now,
Mhm.
as I've been just writing, creating for years. Then comes the batching part. I try not to do just one video at a time. I try
Mhm.
to do 3 to 5 at a time when I'm recording.
Mhm.
So recording, typically I spend about a day recording, not too
Mhm.
bad. Once I get in a rhythm and a flow and I'm not messing up as much. Um, and then comes the long part, which is the point between editing or recording
Mhm.
and editing. I think I just, again, maybe I get too much in my head about the edit and whether or not it's good or whether or not people are gonna like it or think it's engaging.
Mhm.
And so that takes a minute, but even with editing, once I get going, it's not that bad. I have a couple of things that allow me to edit without really having to hear my voice. So that helps. I can edit by text, cut out the silences that way,
Mhm.
and go from there and get a really good rough cut fairly quickly. And then once I do that, it's just about adding in B-roll and a few motion graphics and an end screen, and
Mhm.
that's not too bad. And then it's pressing publish. But again, that timeline from like getting an idea and packaging it to hitting
Mhm.
publish or schedule on YouTube is varied.
So it sounds like the biggest bottleneck is that editing component and the possible overthinking, and I only say that because I do that myself, the possible overthinking that might come into play then. Does that
Yeah,
sound about right? Okay. So let's dig in there then, because you said once you get started, it actually doesn't take long technically.
no.
So is it the kind of thing okay. I don't know about you, but when I don't want to do something, I'll open up the program and I'll start it and then I'll go, "Oh wait, I got to," and I'll like walk away or I'll open up another window or I'll kind of
So
do stuff
guilty.
that way.
So guilty. So guilty. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, okay, so it's a matter of focus. Talk to me about the kind of edits that you do, like, how detailed do you get in your videos? Your video editing?
Because a lot of my solo videos are mostly talking head type
Mhm,
stuff, I
mhm,
don't get too crazy in terms of editing.
mhm,
I would say my editing process right now is pretty straightforward.
mhm.
So it's not like it's and even if it was, I mean, I've been editing videos and films for a long time, so
Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah.
familiar. It's just a matter of doing it and really getting over that mental battle of like, am I going to create something that's good, and create something to the level of quality that I want to be known for. Like all these things that
Mhm.
really nobody cares more about my creative integrity than me, and I know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But it's still like this mental battle of like getting over that to hit publish.
Are you trying to edit all like, if you do 3 to 5 in a recording, are you trying to edit them all on the same day as well? Are you batching those?
It depends. It
Okay.
depends. I try to be realistic with how much focus I can give an edit.
Mhm.
And so I typically try to do 2 max a day.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how long are they usually?
The videos,
Yeah.
between I would say 5 to 12 minutes, so like short film length.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So how long would you say you spend on one video editing completely, everything to do with the editing?
half a day maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
half of a day. So we're talking like 3, 4 hours.
yeah, typically.
Okay.
Probably
For
could be shorter if I was being hard on myself, but I think realistically it's like 3 to 4 hours total
for
a
a
week.
less than 12-minute video.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Is that too long? Is that too short? Is that
No, I'm not gonna make that judgment. I'm not gonna make it in terms of quality
Yeah.
or YouTube pressure, but what I am going to say is, are you getting back from the video what you're putting in time-wise? Like, are you getting a return on that time investment?
You can look at this twofold. Am I creatively getting back from it what I
Mhm,
want? Am I growing as a creator?
mm,
I think that answer is yes.
mhm.
Am I getting back from it what I want from a business perspective? That's a 50-50 answer.
Right.
My YouTube channel is not monetized, but it is something that previous clients can see because I put it in my email signature,
Mhm,
and I
mhm.
have gotten work from it, right?
Okay.
People videos, and I think one, it's either twofold. They either recognize someone from my podcast, so
Mhm.
like, yes, oh, you know this person, absolutely, I'll work with you, or they'll say, I feel like I know you better now, right? So they get an idea of who I am
Mhm.
and the quality of which I can create. So from that perspective, it's almost like an extension of my portfolio. So maybe that's
Okay.
also maybe why I'm a little hesitant to just put out something.
So it's not just a lead generator then. The channel is a portfolio and a lead generator together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure. No wonder you don't wanna do the videos. Angela, you don't need that kind of pressure. No, here's the thing, they are not fine-tooth combing your videos like you are.
Okay.
The
Okay.
portfolio put on your website. I understand people will be judging you from the stuff you do on YouTube, but on YouTube, they're probably looking more for information they can use.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think people they just like clicking around. They're like, how
Sure.
can I?
Yeah. So I wonder, I love experiments. Life is an experiment. I wonder if you tried to do the edit for one video within 1 hour and test that and see I know, and see the different traction, however you wanna define that, that it does, whether it be probably not views, but, like, impact if anybody mentions it, if there are comments on it. I'm not sure what you want how you wanna track it, and we can talk about that if you want to. But compare that time-wise to what you're doing now and see if it if it gets any positive or negative difference in reaction to the video. And you probably have to do more than one to get this. But yeah, because I really wonder if all of that is needed.
Yeah, you're asking great questions here. And I'm gonna throw this out here in the
Yeah.
spirit of experimentality. So I was watching Matt Diavella's bonus channel, and he was talking about how he makes his videos, and basically he was saying, instead of he creates his process based around his strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And he, in his mind, is an editor first, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily a producer or like a on-camera talent or anything like that first.
Mm-hmm.
So he optimizes for what he's best for.
Yep.
And the way that he does it is he actually writes the script and then he records a voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes back and fills in the blank in terms of footage and B-roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, well, I'm not an editor first. That is
Mm-hmm.
my biggest hiccup, but I am a writer first. And
Ah.
so, like, what if I wrote it and did a voiceover
Yeah.
and then pulled in everything I had, and then I just left in a couple of spots for A-roll, and that would probably streamline this dramatically. Like that would cut it down a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been thinking about experimenting with that, going to that
Mm-hmm.
hour thing. So I'm gonna try it, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna blow up my whole process and try to do this a little bit differently,
That's
and see
fantastic. Yeah.
and see if that one decreases my anxiety about it because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not worried about messing up on camera or how I
Mm-hmm.
show up on camera and like can
Yeah.
really focus on like my voice and my inflection and showing my personality and making sure I'm hitting all my points because I can read a
Mm-hmm.
script, but then also like getting to the edit faster because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I can go off a script, edit by text and Descript or Premiere. Like I don't have to do a whole lot,
Yep.
pull in some B-roll,
Yep.
maybe have maybe one more day, a couple 20 minutes of me recording some A-roll, plop that in there and just hit publish and see how
Mm-hmm.
that goes and try that. So
Yeah.
I'm open to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've seen other people do different ways to work around that. Like they'll say, look, here's where I've done what I can do, but right now I'm just getting the info to you. And some people even go to live, they do live recordings and they say, look, this is just rough and ready. This is what it is. I need to get this information to you. They're like, this isn't all I can do, like all I can do with all of the spinning of the wheels and things, but that you can
Yeah.
go look at these things for that. Like point to the areas where people can see the full extent of what you can do, whether
Right.
it be in video or in writing, especially in writing, it sounds like. But don't put that pressure on you. YouTube has this interesting thing where there's traditionally the bar for visual amazingness has gone up and up and up and up and up. But now there's this beautiful, authentic vibe that's coming through where people are starting to do literally stuff back on their phones.
Yeah.
And they're like focusing on content and on, really refining that and focusing on the content, the rhythm, like making sure every moment counts. Like the YouTube folks even say, um, look at like your videos and or listen depending if it's static or motion videos in 30-second increments
Yeah.
because that's kind of when people start falling off. Is like every 30 seconds, if you don't keep their attention with that tight content, that's going to be much more important than the bells and whistles. Bells and whistles, that was the phrase I was looking for before.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll say about that, and I think I'm on the 50-50 side of that, like,
Mm.
I don't think everybody that just picks up their phone and starts talking into it and creates these lo-fi videos is gonna make it on YouTube because,
Oh, of course not.
part of it is
Yeah.
a lot of it is packaging. But one thing I will say is I call myself an OG YouTuber, not because I've been creating for a long time, but because I've been watching YouTube for a long time. When I
Mm-hmm.
was watching YouTube in high school, there wasn't YouTube setup of the day. Like there was barely nobody even was recording on their cell phones, and we just
Yeah.
had these old crappy camcorders. And, there was no B-roll motion graphics. It was just
Mm-hmm.
people creating really good stories. So I really do feel like the storytelling element is important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just about like maybe for me finding the best way to allow my storytelling ability and my personality to shine through because that's ultimately is going to work the best more than
Mm-hmm.
any motion graphics or whatever crap that I put in there that
Yeah.
takes too long anyway. But yeah, that's probably what's gonna work best. But also, I think you were the one that mentioned chapters in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mhm.
think maybe that could again be another way where I'm like, okay, instead of using a motion graphic, let me just put a chapter that takes a lot less time probably.
You
Um,
could. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely could, because those also are used in search on YouTube. They scan the timestamps when people search.
yeah,
So it also increases the discoverability that could happen on YouTube.
yeah,
So yeah. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And no, I wasn't saying that everybody that's doing the lo-fi stuff is going to succeed, and succeed is its own slippery slope. But what I'm saying is that there's a wide range of how you can do YouTube now, whereas it didn't feel like it for a long time. It felt like it got a little glossy, and now it feels like there's a wider range of what people are being drawn to. And again, with content being a very strong component, which is pretty exciting.